Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church presents This Is Your Day with Dawne Biggs.
Welcome back to This Is Your Day, and I'm Dawne Biggs. I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Roy Simpson. How you doing?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on our show.
My pleasure.
All right, Mr. Simpson, I've been hearing great things about you for being a new member here in Macedonia. Tell me how you came to Macedonia. Where do you hail from? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Okay, the backdrop. Okay, well, let's start with a year and a half ago. I was at a parade, met Clyde Jones and Nichelle,
Yes.
and spent the parade with them. And he told me about his church. The key thing that I heard there was that they had Sunday school.
Yes.
You know, we had a church that was only a mile from us. Great church, great pastor, great congregation, but no Sunday school. They had small groups, I think they call it. So one thing that my wife and I talked about was that Sunday school was a must. It was that important to us. So it was just God ordained that we would go to that parade. We hadn't been to a parade before here. In fact, the previous year we were here, we didn't go to a parade, looked at it on TV. My wife was nervous about COVID, but we decided to go to that parade. And we met the Joneses, and it took a while, but we finally joined Macedonia. And it's a family. It feels like a family to us. And we're used to that, and just having a ball.
Now I get the Sunday school class connection. Clyde.
Yes.
All right, I'll have to say thank you to Clyde. Okay, so where did you come from? Where did you hail from before you ended up in Lower Alabama?
Okay, well, it started in the tobacco fields of North Carolina.
Ooh.
Dirt roads, tobacco fields, little place called Curry. It's 20 miles north of Wilmington, North Carolina. Most people know where Wilmington is.
Okay.
So that's where I was born, raised in that area till I was 7. Went to Philadelphia to live. And really, I said I lived in Philadelphia for a year, but it felt like 10.
Wow.
Because it was the concrete jungle of North Philly. Had to go to a park to see a tree. So that was a culture shock coming from North Carolina and going to that concrete jungle. So I endured that for a year, moved back to North Carolina for a short while. At the age of 10, I moved to Newark, New Jersey with my dad. And in fact, I was raised by my grandfather up until that time.
Okay.
So I moved to Newark, New Jersey with my dad, elementary, junior high, high school, and then college right there in Newark. Spent 8 years in the Air Force.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
My pleasure. And then, met my wife at my first training station in California. And we were best friends.
That's great.
And still are best friends.
That's great.
Yeah. My first duty station was Michigan, was there for 4 winters, then moved to Texas. And during that time in Texas, 3 years I was still in the service. It came to the point where Air Force or my wife, Air Force or my wife. And wisely I chose my wife.
Very good.
So she likes to tell that many of our friends who went on and endured the 20 years of the military, they're now divorced.
Oh.
And it's just through the grace of God that we've actually gone closer. In fact, our 2 years here in Alabama has drawn us closer because initially it was just us, one thing about the move to Alabama, it was about the beach.
Ah, so you took the long way around to get to Lower Alabama for our beautiful beaches.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In fact, living in Texas doesn't have any beaches. People tell me Galveston is a beach. I laugh. While we're living in Texas, we would travel to Gulf Shores or Pensacola.
Wow.
for our beach time. And just to explain that a little bit, my wife's from Tampa. We live in Dallas. So we make the trek every year, maybe a couple of times a year. On the way back, we stop at the beach. I was born near the water. She was born near the water. So we love the beaches, but of course, in Dallas, you're landlocked. But anyway, would be our stop. So April of 21, we spent a week in Gulf Shores. And at that time, we decided that, hey,
that was it.
It's time.
You were coming.
Absolutely.
You were coming here
Absolutely.
to live.
We wouldn't even tell our daughters until it was like 3 months out, because we know, they would be heartbroken. But we decided to do it that way, and we made the move, and haven't looked back.
That's great.
Haven't looked back at all.
That's wonderful. I know you have ministry aspirations, so tell me about some of the ministries that you've encountered here.
Okay. Well, currently, I've been working volunteering for feeding the Gulf Coast.
All right, volunteering is my thing.
Yes, absolutely. A little volunteer
St.
there.
Jude, I see.
Yeah, so I've been with them a while. Now, when I was living in Mobile, we had a maintenance man that got shot, was paralyzed. He has 3 kids, 18-year-old, 11-year-old, 13-year-old. Me and my wife spend $1,000 a month, including eating out on food. So imagining what he's going through with those 3 kids.
Oh, yeah.
I researched the site, the Feeding the Gulf Coast site, and found that in that local area, that area code in Mobile, there were 50, maybe 75 food banks. I did the same thing over here. I found 5.
They were 5? Okay, I was going to say 1.
Well,
5, okay.
Found 5, but most of them they emphasize feeding children.
Okay.
So that's outside of what we do. We look to feed everybody. Okay. So, talk to Reverend Jones, my contact. He said, well, you need to speak to the pastor. Okay, spoke to the pastor. He directed me to the source, which is Sister Bowler.
Okay.
And, we just hit the ground running since then. Got the paperwork, filled it out. We're at the point now where we got our first load of food yesterday.
Okay.
You know?
So a food pantry is born.
Yes.
Tell me what days that the food pantry is going to be open.
Okay, right now it's planned for the second and fourth Tuesday of each month.
Okay.
Kicking off this coming Tuesday.
That's
okay?
great.
Starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we'll be there until all the food's gone. Now, hopefully we can pass it all out in an hour, you know?
That's great.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I'm going to volunteer for that.
Okay, I'll sign you up.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is a great, just a great venture, and I'm glad that Macedonia is entering the food security or food insecurity, that area.
Yes.
So I like that. Thank you so much, Mr. Simpson, for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. I see you came the long way to get down here to Lower Alabama, Daphne, Alabama, and we're so glad you did.
I'm glad to be here.
I have been chatting with Mr. Roy Simpson, a new member here at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. We'll see you next time on This Is Your Day with Dawne Biggs.